Welcome to episode 64 of I Wrote This News. Today is Thursday, March 10th, 2022. Friday's right around the corner, and here's today's news. Story number 1, does this anti-vax hat make my brain look slimmer? COVID-19 may cause greater loss of gray matter and tissue damage in the brain than naturally occurs in people who have not been infected with the virus. A large new study found. With normal aging, people lose a tiny fraction of gray matter each year. For example, in regions related to memory, the typical annual loss is between 0.2% and 0.3%. But COVID patients in the study lost more than non-infected participants, experiencing between 0.2% and 2% additional gray matter loss in different brain regions over the 3 years between scans. They also lost more overall brain volume and showed more tissue damage in certain areas. The effects may be particularly notable because the study involved mostly people who, like the majority of COVID patients in the general population, were mildly affected by their initial COVID infection, not becoming sick enough to need hospitalization. Vaccine skeptics looked at the brighter side of the study, saying that getting COVID is like putting your brain on a diet. One anti-vaxxer said, "After getting COVID, I can finally fit into the trucker cap I wore in high school. It's a miracle." Story number 2, didn't any of you see Planet of the Pigs? The first person to receive a heart transplant from a pig has died, 2 months after the groundbreaking experiment and 2 months and 1 day after the pig itself died. David Bennett, 57, died Tuesday at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Doctors didn't give an exact cause of death, saying only that his condition had begun deteriorating several days earlier. The exact cause of death for the pig has not been revealed either, but presumably it had something to do with having its perfectly fine heart forcibly removed and put into someone else's body. Bennett's son praised the hospital for offering the last-ditch experiment, saying the family hoped it would help further efforts to end the organ shortage. Bennett Jr. said in a statement, quote, "We are grateful for every innovative moment, every crazy dream, every sleepless night that went into this historic effort. We hope this story can be the beginning of hope and not the end. We are still awaiting comment from the pig's next of kin." March 10th is the 69th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. 296 days remain until the end of the year. Today is National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, a day to raise awareness about the impact of HIV on women and show support for women and girls with HIV. In New York and Maryland, today is also celebrated as Harriet Tubman Day. Now it's time for On This Date in History. On this date in 1876, the first successful test of a telephone is made by Alexander Graham Bell. 1891, Almond Stroger patents the Stroger switch, a device which led to the automation of telephone circuit switching. 1969, in Memphis, Tennessee, James Earl Ray pleads guilty to assassinating Martin Luther King Jr. He later unsuccessfully attempts to recant. 1977, astronomers discover the rings of Uranus.
Those dirty rings. You try scrubbing them out and soaking them out.
The Rings by James Elliott, Edward Dunham, and Jessica Mink. There are 13 rings, all of which are thought to be relatively young, not more than 600 million years old. 2006, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter arrives at Mars. Celebrating birthdays today are Carlos Ray, better known as Chuck Norris, musician and co-founder of the group Boston, Tom Scholes, basketballer Austin Carr, comedian Robert Llewellyn, actress Sharon Stone, rocker Jeff Ament, actor John Hamm, Olympic gymnast Shannon Miller, singer Carrie Underwood, and comedian Ego Nwadum. Happy birthday to all of them, and if your birthday is today, a very happy birthday to you as well. By the way, if you or someone you know is having a birthday and would like us to announce it on the show, leave us a voice message or send an email. The links are in the show notes. Today's news was brought to us by New York Times, the Associated Press, CDC.gov, and the website that will never steal your heart without asking, Wikipedia. If you have a comment or a question about anything you've heard today, or if you have a suggestion, please send us a note at I Wrote This News, all one word, at thatradioshow.com. That email address one more time is I Wrote This News, all one word, at thatradioshow.com.
One more thing, if this podcast sounds a little funny, that's because it's also an experiment. All of the vocals were generated using AI technology. Hopefully the show will sound different and better as the tech improves and as we improve at using it. I'm Bob Neese, hoping you have an amazing day. We'll get together again soon.